Hello guys, so apparently there's some music in the background, but I'm gonna put a music on my own. They're gonna have parties, so I better get this quick. I hope you had a nice Christmas. So I'm gonna get right to the point. I'm gonna try to be as fast, as concise as I can, but I want to get into detail so you can be interested in what I have to say, whatever. So I'm gonna talk about Torna the Golden Country, which is a really good game. It's my second favorite Xenoblade game. And some people might not consider it a game, but I actually want to talk about this because the fact that it's technically not a game, I feel that it's the best game to introduce you to the series. So if you're interested in Xenoblade but you don't really know where to start, you don't really know what interest to pick, because you keep hearing different opinions from each game, and like maybe you don't have a Wii U, maybe you don't want to buy the expensive Wii physical copy of the game, you don't have a new 3DS, you're not really sure if you want to get Xenoblade 2 on the Switch. Well, let me tell you, this one's like the best one to get, and for like 3 reasons that I'm just gonna get into right now. The first one, the game is really short. Now this is really relevant because the game, it has the benefits of a spin-off, but when you actually play it, it feels really, really legit. It feels like an actual Xenoblade game, as it should. And so it has the benefits of a spin-off, but it also doesn't have like many of the shitty aspects of it. And I feel the length of the game and the pace is really like what defines that, because in this game, by a certain point in the game, you already have everything you need to know about the combat, about what to do in the overworld, about how this works, and that. In the other Xenoblade games, to be honest, it takes quite some time. Like for example, in Xenoblade Chronicles X, like you see the giant mech, right? The scales, which you can use to fly, which looks really fun. And trust me, it's really fun to fly in Xenoblade Chronicles X, but you don't really get those scales like right away as much as you want to. So you might not have the patience for that. And I feel that if you don't have the patience for Torna the Golden Country, you're not gonna have the patience for any of the games in this series, period. So that's one reason. The second reason is because of the accessibility of the game. You can find it on the eShop. You can find it on many shops like Best Buy and GameStop. It has like the physical version. It might become rare in the future, but as far as now, I haven't found a store that doesn't have it. It's typically always on stock. I have a friend who works at I don't remember what store, but he told me that there was like no copies of Vanilla Xenoblade 2, but there was like plenty of Torna the Golden Country. One thing is that the price is not really fair. I feel that it should be 30, 40. It's pushing it a little bit. It's not too bad. Maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you think the price is fine. I think it's a little pricey. Maybe you think maybe you don't mind, or maybe you can find it for $30, which then I'll recommend you to get it. And the last one, and I think that many people kind of know about this, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I feel that it lives up tasting other people's mouth that might not be into the series, because it definitely panders to the greasy otaku basement dweller demographic that many people might not like. Like there's a lot of waifu bait in that game. There's a lot of anime tropes. There's a lot of stuff that it's just too much, like even for me, right? And this game really, I'll go as far to say that it doesn't have any of that. Like yeah, it has the anime style, it's the same artist, but the designs are not dumb, they're not sexually distracting, they're like everything looks like it's fine. There's some anime comedy moments, but they're very toned down in comparison to Xenoblade 2. I would say that they're almost no there. So yeah, those are the 3 main reasons why I think this is the best for beginners. Okay, now onto reviewing the actual game. In my opinion, Xenoblade Chronicles to the Torna the Golden Country is better than like the base game, in my opinion. This is my second favorite Xenoblade game, and I actually do have a lot of good things to say about it. I do have some negative things to say about it. So let's start with the things that I like that they changed from Xenoblade 2 that I think it does better. First of all, the combat features are like I said, given to you like a lot sooner. In Xenoblade 2, you are like 2 hours in the game, you only have one blade. You're like 5 hours in the game, you only have 2 party members, one that has 2 blades, one that only has 1 blade. You're like, I don't know, 6-7 hours, you finally have like 2 party members that can use like they can use like 2 blades or 3 blades, but like one is forced to stick with 1 blade. And then you get chain attacks and you still don't have like a full party. And then finally you get like another party member in like 20 hours into the game. The pacing is just really bad in terms of gameplay, and this one really does it well. One thing that I like is that because you're here, your party members are set in stone. You don't have to grind for core crystals, and so they won't litter your inventory. Like your inventory won't be filled by litter of just core crystals. And another thing is that because you don't have to grind for core crystals, like all the mechanics of the game are built around the party members you have. Like the skill fields, like the skill fields in Xenoblade 2 are these skills that let you cut trees or destroy a rock or whatever, move objects with super strength, and they're powered up by the abilities of the blades. In Xenoblade 2 you could do something that was actually really cool, which was just getting blades with the same ability, and their levels will like add up to each other. So let's say all of them were level 1 of super strength, and the movement required level 3. So you just had to have the 3 with level 1 strength and then move the object, which is really cool. The problem is that there were areas in the game where you have to constantly change the blades because some of them might not have these ice element skill field. Some of them might not have what's called like focus. I don't know, like, do you get what I'm saying? You have to constantly switch between your blades. It will make you open up the menu and switch them up and just kind of make them mad, and it would just take so much time, and it just make exploring be like it was just a bigger hassle than it should have been. It was just a mess. But here, the party members have each answer to each situation. You just have to level them up, and that's it. And I think that's better. The boring gem crafting process that they add in Xenoblade X is finally gone. Honestly, I thought that I just wish they just stick with the gem process from Xenoblade 1, where you just do the gems within your portable thing with 2 party members, but I guess not. Instead, they have you collecting different items so they can craft a gem, which makes no sense, but they finally remove it in this game, so great. The protagonists, Laura, Jin and Laura, I like them. I like Laura. I think they could have done it a little bit better, but she's definitely likable. I understand why she's doing what she has. I like the story that she has with her mom. I think they could have executed better, like show her mom. I feel like they rely on the fact that she, it's her mom, and we should feel bad about that. I feel like they could have grounded a little bit better, but Laura doesn't bother me. I wish her voice actress was better, but it's whatever. Hayes, well, I'll talk about Hayes later. Jin, I actually think is I think it's the best Xenoblade 2 character. I think this game really did justice to Jin. It really grounds his motivations and his behavior and his personality into. My problem with Jin in Xenoblade 2 is that it was not really his character. I just felt that his personality was kind of dull. He was kind of a cliche sad boy with a sword. But I feel that this really gives him like personality, because he's also here in the game, he's kind of sarcastic. He can be funny, like he's not like too funny to break the serious personality, because even serious people can like laugh, can make jokes, can do other things. He's a really reconforting guy, whatever. So yeah, I'll say Jin is now my favorite Xenoblade 2 character, which is surprising. Okay, now the things that I like about this game that it added, right? First of all, community. But there's 2 things that bother me about community. One, it's an affinity chart. Why the skill tree is called affinity chart and the affinity chart is called community? It doesn't really make sense. So basically, in Xenoblade 2, an affinity chart, it's a skill tree of like skills of the blade, and they call it affinity chart, which affinity chart is just like the relationship of people within the Xenoblade world, right? Like for example, on Bionis, like the affinity chart will tell you how much affinity your party had with a certain region of the game, and it's been like this until Xenoblade 2. But community is basically how an affinity chart should be. Now that's my first problem, right? That they changed the name. The second thing I dislike about community is that a story progress can be, you can get stopped from progressing in the story because you have to do community levels, and that's really, really annoying. I understand that they did it to extend the gameplay time because the game is already too short, so I guess they had to find a way to make you play more, and that just felt really lazy and cheap, to be honest. It bothered me, but after doing it, it's not that frustrating, because community, now let's talk about community, because I actually like the concept of community. It's an affinity chart, but it works really well. It's very simplified, but it's not, it's simplified in a good way. Now it tells you how many you want for your next community level. So you see, if you want community, level 2, it tells you, oh, you have 4 supporters, you need 9 more, and that really, really helps you, because in the other Xenoblade games, in all of them, even X, which I think it did it the best, it's just very ambiguous, like how many you have to do, right? Like just very, very ambiguous. And here it's very clear, very straightforward. You just get to do it. It tells you which ones are not in your community part. So you have an objective. Okay, I have to get that person, right? One thing that I feel that it was a missed opportunity, because in community you can see what people have a quest for you, or which ones are you doing a quest for, and that's really cool. The problem is that you cannot navigate to the quest from that point. Like you cannot click on a character and then go to the quest that they're asking you to. Not even the characters that you already accept the quest for. And I feel that that's really, really, really just like a missed opportunity, because I feel that navigating like through quests has been a problem in all Xenoblade games. I feel that each Xenoblade game has done it a little bit better, but I feel that could finally fix the problem. Just doing it from your community, and just go to the character, and you know where he is, you know what he's asking for you. Done. And now, what a missed opportunity. Maybe they will do it in the next game. I don't know, but I really hope they keep community. Actually, the soundtrack in this game is actually using a clever way. It's the same soundtrack as Xenoblade 2, the same one, but the tracks are used in a clever way where it feels fresh. Like for example, Battle in this case of Bob. When I finished Xenoblade 2, even though I wasn't like, I spent a good time where that team was around. I didn't really remember when I finished the game, but whenever I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country, like I was on fire. Like I really, really like that theme now. And there's many themes that are very reminiscent of Xenoblade 2. Well, they're the same themes, but they're the same songs, but they're used in the right places, and the game overall feels fresh when using them. So I really wanted to point that out. One thing that I like is that the game ended on somewhat of a negative note, the story, because I feel that's somewhat of a new thing to the Xenoblade series. So it's nice that something like that happened. It kind of has like somewhat of a sad ending. So yeah, I actually appreciate that a lot. One of the changes in mechanics that I like is the switch on Vanguard. I like that blades do more than just give you energy. I mean, it's a nice concept, right? You're fighting the same character, but he uses different weapons, but it just feels kind of cheap that the blades don't really do anything like that. They only fight at your specials, and it just, I don't know, it cheapens the experience to me. And like, you get top one, they don't do anything. Here, your blades fight alongside you. You can actually play as your blade. Like maybe you wanted to play as Mithra in Xenoblade 2, you can actually do it here. You can actually play as Jin. And the banker switch actually gives you health. When you change characters of your party, of your selected driver, when you change like character, you actually regain some health. So you actually have to change so that you don't actually lose health like that. So it actually keeps you going. It gives you something to do other than just spamming arts, which I actually like. I also like that now you don't have to, do very specific blade combos, because that was a problem in Xenoblade 2. It wasn't a problem in the sense that it was bad. The problem is that you had to do it, that it was very, very like obligatory the way you do it. So it really made the battle even longer than it usually was. And it made your combos really repetitive. Like, I feel that most people find themselves doing the same blade combo every single time, like the same 3 blade combos every single time, and I just find that kind of lame. But here you can do a lot of variety with them, and you get chain attacks a lot faster. So yeah, the combat's been sped up. It really helps. Like, they still have this force, like forcing you to walk slow from Xenoblade 2. Like, if you don't know, in Xenoblade 2, when you engage in combat, you start moving through molasses. You move really slow. And even though this game still has that, the overall combat is faster, so yeah, you actually have something to compensate for it. Or at least you have something to compensate for it a lot quicker than you should. You don't have to wait for this for a long time. Now to the things that I dislike about this game, because they're not that many. There's actually like less. I mean, there are some things that I dislike, like the force, like the game forcing you to like go slower and so on. Things that I just wish they were changed, but there's Xenoblade 2 mechanics, so they kind of have to stay there. One thing is that I kind of wish the game was longer. I mean, imagine, my biggest complaint is that the game is not long enough. So that that's actually like a testament of how good I think this game is. But I do have to talk about this, because it's not just that the game is short. It's that you kind of beat the game, you don't really have anything else to do. In all the Xenoblade games, all of them, you have a good amount of things to do after you beat the game. And this game doesn't really deliver on that. Here's the thing, the combat is easy and accessible, but I feel that you master it really quickly. Like, after I mastered the combat, I feel that that's kind of it, sort of feeling. It's more engaging than Xenoblade 2, but I don't think it will last you as many hours. Like, I think you will get tired a lot sooner, because there's not really more depth to it. Which is fine, because the game is short, but I still feel like they could have added more to it. And this is actually one of my biggest complaints too. Hayes and Bridget, right? Because I feel that I have to, mention those 2 characters, because they were also on the regular Xenoblade 2. Hayes, I just feel that this game didn't really do anything for her. I didn't really feel that she was like that much of a character. She was just one of Laura's blades, and that's kind of lame. I feel that she should been given some moments. She has some like nice in combat lines, or after combat, or whatever, like post combat dialogue. She has some nice things like that, but in general she didn't really, she was not interested at all. And I feel that even in Xenoblade 2 she had like more things going for her. There was more people she interacted with. She was one of the few people that Mithra recognized from the past, but she was different in a way. So yeah, I'll say that Hayes was underwhelming. Now, Bridget. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, Bridget. This actually bumps me down. Bridget was my favorite Xenoblade 2 character. Like, I just felt that she was a more interesting blade. I mean, she didn't have a lot of things. She didn't have like a ton of things going for her, but I feel that she was, she has a nice personality, because I wasn't really expecting anything from her, but I ended up really liking her. She's very serious, but she, just like I said, she's serious, but she's not like grim dark. She has more personality outside of that. She's very kind, she's very regal, but she's also very good at fighting and very decisive. She's very girly. She acts as somewhat of a mother figure to Pyra, and she has a lot of things just going for her, in my opinion. Like her diary, like the fact that she was very, very interested in her past, on how the past Bridges felt like, and how were they like, and so on. So I was really curious on to see how they will handle that in Xenoblade Chronicles to the Torna the Golden Country, and she doesn't even feel like the same character, which I guess is sort of the point, but it doesn't really complement anything. It doesn't even complement the whole diary thing, because it just kind of feels like a check mark. Like, she just mentioned it, but like that's it. She doesn't even make it sound like something important. Her personality is Like, you know, she went from being very noble, very kind, to being very narcissistic, very like so sometimes she comes off as the elitist. She's always like, oh my god, Mithra, you're so pathetic, you're such a simpleton. And I don't know, I just got annoyed by her instead of liking her, and it just really made me sad. Okay, so the music is getting louder, so I better finish this video now. So overall, guys, yeah, I think this is the best Xenoblade game to get into the series. Like I said before, this would have been the perfect 3DS spin-off type of game. Well, that's really it. Bye.